Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe. We are continuing with the story of Ramadasa Babaji, and before we read he was a disciple of Jagat Bandhu, or how he called him Bandhu, and he loved him so much he couldn't be separated from him. And the last time we read that he was sent first to Vrindavana, and then he was sent to Radhakund. When he came to Vrindavana, he was escorted by an elderly woman to find out after that this woman was actually Yogamaya, who took him to the right temple where he needed to go. And after that, he got instructed to go to Radhakund. And as he came there and he went into meditation on the bank of the Radhakund, actually on the bridge between Radhakund and Shyamakund, and he saw there two gopis, very beautiful gopis, who came and took him to see Radha and Krishna, who were on a swing. And he was totally happy in this meditation. In the end, meditation stopped, but his Manjari Bhava stayed with him. So at that moment, his Manjari Bhava was revealed completely. So after, Jagat Bandhu told him to come back to Bengal, and our story actually continues from here. So I will continue. After a couple of months, Bandhu hired the house number 64.1 in Chashadopapada Lane and started living there. The house was situated near Domapada, Rambagan, and the locality in which the prostitutes lived. In these places, theft and dacoity and murder were the order of the day. Bandhu chose to live here because his mission of reforming the fallen and setting them on the path of bhakti could be fulfilled more easily if he lived among them. Here he asked Champati and his other devotees to go together round the city performing kirtana. And he asked Ramdas to bathe daily in the Ganges and then go about alone performing kirtana in Domapada, Rambagan, and the other places in that area. Kirtana is more enjoyable when performed by a number of people singing together. The gracious Lord sent 4 other devotees who were impressed by the kirtana of Ramdas and had surrendered themselves to him. They were Tulasi, Kshiroda, and Ranu. The 4th was a black, lean, and thin dog. Ranu was a dog. These are 3 people, and the 4th was a black, lean, and thin dog who used to come for kirtana before others. Ramdas saw him for the first time one day, just as he opened the door to go to the Ganges for bath. It appeared to him that there sat on the door an old Vaishnava who wore kanti and tilaka. He made obeisance to him. After making obeisance, as soon as he got up, he saw that it was not a man, but a dog who sat there. The dog came to him every day before he went to bath to the Ganges and went away somewhere after his return. During the kirtana, from time to time, he made an inarticulate sound to match the Haribol sound of kirtana. Ramdas did not like that Bandhu should separate him from the other devotees. He saw that the attitude of other devotees, particularly the attitude of Champati towards him, was becoming more and more unfriendly. In that environment, he felt very much suffocated. He began to think of going back to Vrindavan. Therefore, Bandhu said, "Look, it is natural for you to yearn for Vrindavan, but the man who eats after feeding others is alone a man in the true sense." One day, Ramadas was doing smarana at night. Bandhu beckoned him to come to his room for Lila Kirtana by playing softly on Mridanga. He went and started Lila Kirtan. Ramdas Baba was singing. Bandhu was playing on Mridanga. While singing, Baba saw in a trance Radha and Krishna dancing together in Maharas. After Maharas, Radha lay fatigued in the lap of Krishna. Krishna, like the black bee, began to kiss the lotus-like lips of Radha. He got so intoxicated with the nectar of Mahabhava on her lips that he fell into stupor and became numb and inert like a statue. So he got paralyzed by nectar. As Krishna was kissing Radha's lips, she also got intoxicated and fell asleep. On seeing the golden image of Radha lying in the lap of the blue image of Krishna, Baba began to sing, "Saki tora dhire, dhire kata kana, rai jena jagena," etc. "O Saki, talk low, disturb not Radha in her sleep in the lap of Krishna." Ramdas was singing and enjoying the transcendental beauty of the divine couple in that state. Slowly, he lost outward consciousness. Bandhu also had a similar experience and became unconscious. At dawn, in the morning, Bandhu regained consciousness. He began to sing a song relating to the awakening of the couple. The song revived the outward consciousness of Ramdas. Bandhu gave him the notebook containing songs relating to Kunja Bhanga Lila, the end of the amorous Lila in the Kunja at night, and asked him to sing. Ramdas, in a fit of excitement, threw the notebook on the face of Bandhu. His eyes became red with rage, because he had deprived him of the enjoyment of the rasa he was relishing while outwardly unconscious. Bandhu laughed and said, "Who is hurt? Look out of the window." He meant that the time had come for the morning stroll with Nama Kirtana. If, for the sake of his enjoyment, Ramdas ignored Nama Kirtana, he would commit an offense and hurt Krishna. Because Nama and Nami, that is the name of Krishna, and Krishna, the person, were one. Nama and Nami. Ramdas understood and lowered his head with shame. Bandhu had told Ramdas on a previous occasion that only he was a man in the real sense, who did not eat without feeding others. So, one person is a man in the real sense who did not eat without feeding others. By letting him know that the service of the name was the superior to Smarana, Ramdasa thought he had suggested that his future life should be devoted to the service of humanity through Namakirtana rather than to Lila Smaran. The next day, Bandhu suddenly left for Vrindavana, leaving Ramdas to brood over the difficult situation he was now facing. Bandhu was so merciful towards him, yet so indifferent. He had so far occupied the highest place in his heart, but he was now withdrawing himself from it. The vacuum thus created by him was gnawing at his heart. He did not see anyone who could feel it. There was also no one to whom he could open his heart except the Yogamaya Ma Kali of Kolkata. To her and told his tale. Ma heard. Her response was quick and sympathetic. The next morning, when he went out for Nagar Kirtan, he had only the dog as his companion. He had crossed Chitapur and was going along the footpath of the company garden performing Kirtana. Suddenly he heard the dog's "bho-bho" cry from behind. His cry was always meaningful. Therefore, he looked back. He saw him standing before a house, wagging his tail and looking towards the gate. This aroused his curiosity. He stepped back and looked towards the gate. He saw that the door of Sahababu's drawing room was open. On a cushion on the right side of the room sat a gigantic Mahatma with a divine luster on his face, whose ears seemed to be set on the sound of Kirtan. As Baba looked at him for a while, he also looked at him. It is difficult to say that in this exchange of glances, who influenced whom and how much. Baba thought of going in and making obeisance to him. But the next moment, he got up. But the next moment, that person inside got up and went into another room, casting one more glance at him as he went. The next morning, again he went and stood before the house of Sahababu, doing kirtan. A servant came out and said, "Perhaps you want to meet the Barha Babaji of Puri. He left yesterday evening." While in Vrindavana, Barha Babaji, if you remember, was our Radha Raman Charan Dasdeva. So while in Vrindavana, Ramdas had met so many saints, but none except Bandhu had attracted him so much as Barha Baba. He began to hanker restlessly after his darshan. By now, Bandhu had returned from Vrindavan. He was staying in Darchipad with his devotees, while Ramdas lived in Chashadopapada street. He sent word to Ramdas, "Tomorrow we have to go to Navadvip. Meet at Ahiratala Ghat." The next day, when he reached the Ghat, Bandhu had gone to Navadvip with Champati. His other devotees were to go by another boat. Ramdas sat in that boat, but none of the other devotees talked with him. When he reached the Hari shop in Navadvip, where Bandhu was staying, he asked Champati, "Where is Bandhu?" He replied in a grave tone, "Prabhu is living behind Hari shop in a thatched cottage. Today no one can meet him." Champati thus pricked him in his heart, which was already sore, and went. Champati went. The rumor spread all over Navadvip that Nava Gauranga or New Gauranga had appeared in Navadvip and he had been kept in hiding. When Ramdas came to know about this, he remembered that last time, when he had come to Navadvip with Bandhu, census was going on, and Bandhu had asked his people to hide him so that he might not be counted among men. Now, when his divinity was openly talked about, perhaps he wanted, for the fulfillment of some purpose, to so manifest himself. Therefore, he should keep himself aloof from him, otherwise he would prove an obstacle to him. As he thought of this, his whole frame trembled and tears trickled down his eyes. That day was the day of Mahaprabhu's appearance. Before the actual time of his appearance, crowds of people were rushing towards the holy Ganga for a dip in the river. There was no one in Harishab. Ramdas alone was sitting in a corner weeping. At that time, Bandhu came quietly and said, "Rami, why are you sitting here?" Ramdas wept out more bitterly. He closed his eyes with both hands because he could not look at him. Bandhu held his both hands and said, "Come, let us also go and have darshana from a distance." Bandhu took Ramdas with him and went through the back door of Harishab and lanes and by lanes to the bank of Ganga and stood behind the broken wall of an old garden house. They saw countless people bathing in the river, countless standing on the bank, and countless sitting in the boats, and heard the sky-rending sound, Haribo. All of a sudden, they saw a kirtana party going to the river and singing in a sweet tone. Bhajanitai Gaur Radeshyam Japo Hare Krishna Hare Ram. Bandhu whispered into the ear of Ramdas. The party of Barha Babaji Maharaj of Puri. He felt that Bandhu had brought him there only to ask him by gesture to take shelter under the feet Barha Babaji Maharaj. That day, Ramdas did not have any. At dead of night, after the crowd had dispersed, they bathed in the Ganges and returned to Harisha. Ramdas had to spend 10 more days in Navadvip, sobbing and weeping in the company of Bandhu, and yet in agonizing separation from him. He could not live there in this condition anymore. He returned to Charshadopapada Street in Kolkata and began to do Nagar Kirtan as instructed by Bandhu. After 7 days, Bandhu came. He did not go to Darchipad, but came straight to his street. A new ray of light and hope sparkled in the heart of Ramdas. But it did not take long to disappear. He stayed there for 24 hours, but did not once call Ramdas. At night, Champati said to him, "Rama, tomorrow morning, at the time of Nagar Kirtan, sing the song of praise and prayer to Bandhu as Bhagavan. Bandhu is Bhagavan. We must behave towards him accordingly." It was not possible for Ram to worship him as Bhagavan, whom he had loved all along, as his Bandhu or friend, or Dada, elder brother. To do so would have been to place him at a yawning distance from himself. How could the one who was worshipped as Bhagavan be as close to one's heart as a friend or brother? So he thought it fit to go away from there. From a distance, he could still be closer to Bandhu than in his company. But the events moved fast. Next morning, When Champati saw him singing other Kirtana songs rather than the songs of prayer to Bandhu as Bhagavan, he pounced upon him. He beat him and pushed him away, saying, "Get away from here. You do not deserve to stay here even for a moment." Thus chastised by Champati and ignored by Bandhu, Ramdas went to the house of his devotee Nathavar Lal in Kolkata. He lived there and did Nagar Kirtan and Smarana, etc., as enjoined before by Bandhu. Since the moment he was pushed by Champati, his attraction towards Bandhu had decreased, and he felt attracted more and more towards Barha Baba. He felt that there was in it the hand of some unseen power, working according to some design for his betterment and the benefit of the rest of mankind, of which his dissociation from Bandhu and surrender at the feet of Barha Baba was an essential part. He became restless to meet Barha Babaji Maharaj and started his search for him. So I just wanted to say here, in the morning, I was reading from the same author, O.B.L. Kapoor, started to read the book about Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the book is also nicely written in this way with many, many stories. And it is a compilation, actually, of works from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavata, and so on. Many different works that describe the life of Gauranga. And it was interesting. One thing now connected with what I was reading, how Gauranga never loved that anyone called him Bhagavan. He was angry if they called him Bhagavan, except in few instances where for devotees he had to show who he is. But generally, he never loved to be called Bhagavan because he came as devotee, not as a god. And it's interesting also that in developing our own relationship with our Ishtadev, if we would always think that this is Bhagavan or God, it is difficult to have any other relationship with them as a friend, as a manjari, as a lover, as a parent, because it's mixed with awe and reverence. Awe and reverence. So that's why our meditation is that they are our family, our friends, our close to our heart. And usually with Bhagavan, it is different. So here, some disciples were calling Bandhu, Jagat Bandhu, like he is Bhagavan, incarnation Gauranga, second incarnation Gauranga, but he could not accept it because this went against his feelings towards Bandhu. So, and situation looks outwardly like some bad situation. How he could be so much rejected, had so much problems connecting with Bandhu and seeing Bandhu. But he saw that this was some, like, manipulated by some unseen power, working according to some design for his betterment and the benefit of the rest of mankind. So sometimes in our lives happen many things, and in the moment they may seem maybe bad, difficult, but these stories can teach us to see them in different light. We can see them as our guidance by our Ishtadev, that this is their will, in a way, helping us to come closer to them. For us, it is different what's happening behind the scenes. We usually see what is in front of our eyes, but many things are happening behind that we do not know. And our current situation is important to bring us closer to our Ishtadeva. And we can always ask, please, that everything brings me closer to you, everything in my life. So we will continue now. So he was searching, he was restless to meet Barha Babaji Maharaj and started his search for him. He came to know that Barha Baba was in Navadvip at that time. The next day, he went to Navadvip. In Harishab, he happened to see Navadvip Das Baba. We also read about him. He was disciple of Barha Baba. Introducing himself to him, he asked where he could meet Barha Baba. Navadvip said, "Oh, he is my own dada or brother. I shall take you to him." He also said, "We call him dada or brother because he is by nature a dada for us all. His demeanor, habits, and behavior are like that of a bandhu or like friend or dada or brother. He is the affectionate bandhu or friend of everyone." Ramdas was happy beyond measure to know this. He understood that he was going to get his bandhu in another form, and what appeared to him to be separation from bandhu was union with him in a sweeter form. The next day, Navadvip Das took Ramdas to the ashrama of Palagovinda, where Barha Baba was staying. As soon as Ramdas saw Barha Baba, his whole body shivered with a wave of transcendental bhava and happiness. He performed dandavat before him. Navadvip, whispering into his ear, introduced Ramdas to him and told him about his separation from Jagadvat. Barha Baba looked grave as he fixed his gaze upon him. But the very next moment, there was a smile on his face. He stood up and clasped Ramdas in his arms. Oh, how pleasant, raw, exercising was the clasp. Each was bathing the other with his tears, as if the elder brother had found his younger brother after a long time and was pouring on him all the love stored in his heart through the embrace and the tears of his eyes. How much love. The younger brother was overwhelmed with joy on luckily finding his only elder brother, from whom the younger brother was overwhelmed with joy on luckily finding his only elder brother whom he had lost. Barha Baba sat down on the cot, holding Ramdas close to his heart. After a while, a wave of bhava stirred in his heart. Jai Nitai! And placing his left hand on his back, said in a sweet voice, "Bhai, brother, Bhai Rama, come, let us go." He stood up and began to go out of the ashram. His companions followed him with kola or mridanga and karatals. At his gesture, the kola and karatals began to sound. Ramdas heard Barha Baba saying in a sweet tone, "Bhai Ram, would you do some Nama Kirtana?" Ram started singing in his sweet voice. Hari Vale Re Bhai Gadadharam Gauranga Basu Chan Hayanitai, etc. The sweet tone in Bhava of Kirtana exercised people. Everybody was in ecstasy. As the Kirtana party marched towards Harishab, more and more people joined it. In a short time, the procession became gigantic. Barha Baba Maharaj was so overwhelmed with bhava that he began to dance like a mad elephant and shout from time to time, Hanitai, Hanitai. It became difficult for him to control his bhava. When the Kirtana party reached before Mahaprabhu in Harisha, Barha Baba gave a loving embrace to Ramdas and said, Bhai Ram, you made me so happy today. May Nitai bless you with prema, and you may bless others by distributing it. With this, he surrendered him at the feet of Mahaprabhu. Ramdas thought that Barha Baba Maharaj had accepted him forever. It became impossible for him to live without him, whether asleep or awake. He always thought of him. Ramdas requested him to give him Diksha mantra, but Barha Baba asked him first to obtain the permission of Jagat Bandhu. Ramdas went and asked for his permission. He readily permitted, because this was a part of his own plan regarding him. He had once told him, Rama, you have obtained from me Vrajarasa, from another Mahapurusha who is non-different from me, you will obtain Gaurarasa and drown the world with it. But the sorrow he felt in bidding him farewell forever was apparent from a letter he later wrote to him in verse, like this poem. The first two lines of the letter were, Oh, how to bid farewell forever, how to bear it, how to express my grief in doing it. My body shivers as I think of it. The great ones renounce everything for the good of the world. Jagat Bandhu renounced his Rami, dearer to him than his own self, for the good of the world, for going around the world to preach Harinama under the guidance of Radharaman Charan Das Deva, and delivering the jivas of Kali from bondage. Radharaman made Ramdas in every sense his own by giving him Diksha. Ramdas also surrendered himself to him completely and established the same kind of loving relationship with him, absolutely free from any kind of hitch, hesitation, or reservation as he had. So same kind of relationship, meaning without any kind of hitch, hesitation, or reservation, as he had same relationship with Jagat Bandhu. This is evident from a particular episode. Once Barha Babaji Mahashaya was invited at the house of Sri Mukunda Ghosh. Mukunda Ghosh and his wife had parental affection for Babaji. The latter was angry, the wife was angry because Baba had not visited them for a long time. She had decided that on his arrival, she would express her indignation by not talking with him freely as usual. The omniscient Baba came to know about this. As soon as he entered the house, he said painfully, like a child in hunger, Ma, I am very hungry. Give me something to eat. This aroused her motherly affection, and she forgot everything else. So he knew how to play with her emotions. Weekly, she brought rabari, sandesh, and prasad of various other kinds and placed before Baba and his companions. She also brought a plate full of big fajali mango. With her own with her own hand, she put one mango into the mouth of Barha Baba Maharaj. The mango was big, so one end of the mango remained outside his mouth. Suddenly, Ramdas was possessed by a current of Sakya Bhava, or friendly Bhava. Here, Baba Maharaj held his neck with his left hand and clasped the other end of the mango with his mouth. A wave of Sakya Baba also splashed the heart of Barha Baba, and he made Ramdas sit while he still grasps the mango with his mouth. What an amusing and thrilling lila of Sakya Rasa, both holding the same mango in the mouth, and both shedding tears of love, both drowned in the sea of Bhava without any consciousness of the outer world. Gosha Babu was reminded of the Bana Bhojana Lila of Krishna and his playmates. The Lila of Krishna and his friends eating together and snatching food from each other's mouth at midday in the forest, and began to sing a song relating to it. On hearing the song, Baba Maharaj fell unconscious on the ground. His teeth clenched, body bent like a bow, tremor, horripilation, and sweating began to appear on the body by turns. Gosha Babu began to sing the same song repeatedly. Ramdas joined. After some time, Baba Maharaj himself, in a half-conscious state, began to sing different songs of Sakyaras. Everyone lost outward consciousness. Everyone felt he was under some tree in a forest, enjoying the Bana Bhojan Lila of Sri Krishna. After the Kirtana, Baba took the plate of mangoes in his hand. Turn by turn, he put mangoes into the mouth of each of the devotees, and himself took Adharamrita. Ramdas now always lived with Barha Babaji Maharaj. I hope you can hear me because my internet connection was unstable. So Ramdas now always lived with Barha Babaji. He became his right hand. His main function was to assist him in Sankirtan. Often Baba said to him, Bhai Ram, would you sing the name for a while? Ramdas sang like one inspired, and Baba enjoyed like one drowned in the ocean of Bhava. Baba was pleased to give him Bheka, or Vaishnava sannyas. It was the nature of Radharaman Baba to behave towards everyone, whether his disciple or not, in a friendly and loving manner. But if anyone among his disciples behaved in a manner which was prejudicial to bhakti, he did not hesitate to chastise him. Ramdas was not an exception to this. Once there was a festival in the ashrama of Sri Gaura Haridas Babaji, the guru of Barha Baba Maharaj, and Ramdas was performing kirtana. He was so overwhelmed with bhava that streaming out of his eyes, and from time to time, tremor appeared on his body with such intensity that the body became invisible. Suddenly, she shouted, Are Amar Nitai, Reonitai, Aur Nitai, and began to weep loudly. He repeated the same line over and over, again in consonance with the beats of Mridanga and Karatal, and wept. Those playing on Mridanga and Karatal and others also sang the line and wept. So everybody was crying. Wow. This continued until 12 o'clock, when someone said, Barha Baba has come. Bara Baba had been busy in Radharama when he came to know that Kirtana, which started early in the morning, was still going on to the utter discomfiture of the invited guests. He came probably to stop Kirtana. Ramdas stopped Kirtana. He went out and made obeisance to Baba. And Baba said, Rama, you don't know Seva? You have learned that to weep in Kirtana is the only kind of bhajana. Vaishnavas have been invited to take Mahaprasad. Everything is ready. But it was 12 o'clock. Still your Kirtana did not stop. You do not know how much inconvenience you have caused to the Vaishnavas. It is not enough to have prema. Seva is also necessary. After the bhoga was offered to the deity and the Vaishnavas were fed, Baba sat down to eat with his disciples and companions. He asked, where is Ramdas? Someone said, he is feeling hurt and is sitting alone at Badalagat. Baba said, go and call him for taking Mahaprasad. The man went and returned to say, Ramdas is still sitting alone and brooding over something. Tears are profusely streaming out of his eyes. I called him several times, but he did not reply. I see, he is angry with me, said Baba. So he stood up and went out of the door and shouted, Rama! And Ramdas came and stood before Baba with his head cast down. Baba embraced him lovingly and said, you are angry because I scolded you. Look, it is necessary for a man who does Krishna bhajana to take care that he does not give trouble or cause any inconvenience to anyone. He took Ramdas with him and made him sit by his side in the Pangata, or line of persons seated for taking Mahaprasad. So to take Mahaprasad. While taking Mahaprasad, if he found anything to his taste, he put it on the plate of Ramdas, saying, see how this, he was loving him so much. So, for today, this was part of the story that we read, and it is so beautiful. This relationship between Vaishnavas and with so much love, so beautiful. And I am so much grateful to you. Where is Gurudev here? I don't see you in a second. I'm grateful to Gurudev really to give me this service to read this book, because these books, Saints of Raja, Saints of Bengal, and now I saw also other books from the same author, actually, which are real nectar. And somehow, when I read this to you once a week, the story and the points from the story, I feel like they are staying in my heart. Like last time we were reading about that, how he got darshan of Radhika and Krishna in Radhakund, or how Yoga Maya blessed him by taking him to Vrindavana. Really amazing, amazing. I was thinking all week about this, actually, how this is wonderful, and we should desire to get these darshana, to get this mercy from them. So I hope you like the stories, and I encourage you to take the books and read them, because really they are so much inspiring, but their lives are inspiring. So I thank you very much for your listening. And now we will start Italian Sangha. Thank you.
Radhe Radhe Dinadayal. Maybe just before it's starting Italian Sangha, one part catch my mind in very beginning. when it's said that smarana is that serving of the holy name is superior of smarana, and in the basis of that, I don't know who exactly because I make confusion with name, that he decide to serve humanity in this way. Can you maybe catch this part?
Well, my point of view, because when you read other stories, everybody have different way how they are connecting, how they are doing their bhajans. So sometimes we can see also some instructions that are connected directly to that person, and to that group. Because I don't believe that we are not the same. Everybody is different, and everybody is differently, has different relationship with their Ishtadev. So in this case, the idea was that they prepare him for preaching the Nam Sankirtan, for preaching the holy name and spreading in the West, actually after. So I think this was the main point. But also we know that the name is non-different than Radha and Krishna. When we say Radha, this is Radha. Because we know when we say Ra, Krishna, when we say Ha, Krishna comes. Where is Radha? Where is Radha? And when we say Krishna, Radhika comes. Where is Krishna? So they are non-different because this is their nature. So in a way, if we have realized this, that the name is non-different, then through Harinam, definitely we can do seva and do smarana. And actually, Harinam without smarana is just mechanics. The smarana is important. Thinking, meditation with Harinam in connection.
Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda